What happens when a former royal sits down for what's meant to be a routine talk show appearance, only to face the most unapologetically blunt panelist on British television? The result: a live confrontation so fiery, security had to be called and a guest was escorted from the studio. This is the story of how Meghan Markle's appearance on Loose Women unraveled into utter TV chaos. Before we dive into this incredible moment, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Especially if you've ever seen a celebrity interview go completely off the rails. You're going to want to hear every second of what happened next. The atmosphere at ITV Studios was electric. Loose Women had scored one of the biggest bookings of the year. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. She was there to talk about her philanthropic work and her new chapter post-royalty. What no one anticipated was just how fast things would spiral out of control. As the theme music faded, presenter Ruth Langsford welcomed viewers with a warm smile. Welcome back to Loose Women. We're absolutely thrilled to be joined today by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Meghan, thank you so much for being here. Wearing a cream blazer and her signature poise, Meghan smiled graciously. Thank you for having me, Ruth. It's wonderful to be here. The opening moments were smooth and polished. Ruth guided the discussion through safe topics: charity, women's empowerment, and upcoming initiatives. Meghan appeared at ease, eloquently speaking about her foundation work and future plans. Then Ruth turned to the panel. Let's bring in our panelists. Denise Welch is here today, along with Kay Adams and Janet Street Porter. Denise, you've been quite outspoken about the royal family. What would you like to ask Meghan? Denise leaned in slightly, her tone serious and deliberate. Meghan, you've shared your struggles with mental health within the royal family. Something we all sympathize with. But there's a noticeable pattern. Whether it's the monarchy or past workplaces, these institutions often end up described as toxic. Do you ever wonder if the common denominator might be worth examining? The room fell into stunned silence. You could practically hear the breath leave the audience. Meghan's smile wavered, just for a moment. Then she composed herself. I'm sorry, Denise, but that's an unfair framing. When multiple individuals speak up about systemic problems, we should be listening, not casting doubt on the people brave enough to speak out. But Denise wasn't done. That's exactly my point, though. Plenty of people, your sister-in-law Catherine, for example, have spoken positively about those same institutions. Many of your former colleagues from Suits have remained silent. Isn't it worth considering that maybe the issue isn't always external? Meghan's posture stiffened. With respect, Denise, you're making dangerous assumptions. Silence doesn't mean absence of experience, and comparing me to Catherine is misguided. Our situations were entirely different. Denise pressed on. Were they? You both married into the same family, under similar scrutiny. Catherine adapted. You criticized. I'm not saying either is right or wrong, but can't you see why people might question the narrative? Ruth attempted to intervene. Perhaps we should. Meghan cut in sharply. No, Ruth. This is exactly the conversation we need to have. Denise, what you're suggesting is victim blaming. Because I spoke out about racism and mental health, I'm the problem. That's the kind of logic that keeps toxic systems intact. Denise shook her head. That's not what I'm saying, and I think you know that. I'm talking about accountability. Yes, there were likely failures, unconscious bias, institutional gaps. But you've made sweeping public statements that others in your family dispute. You present yourself as the only victim in a story that has many sides. The tension was now palpable. Kay and Janet sat frozen, clearly caught off guard by the direction of the interview. Meghan's voice sharpened. I came here to discuss positive change, not to be ambushed. Suggesting that I'm responsible for the systemic issues I faced is not only inaccurate, it's harmful to anyone who's tried to speak truth to power. Denise, calm as ever, continued. It's not an ambush, Meghan. It's a question many viewers are asking. You've had every platform: Oprah, Netflix, magazine covers. But controlling the narrative isn't the same as telling the truth. When others who were there offer conflicting stories, shouldn't we consider that the truth might be more complex? Meghan's composure began to crack. Those people were part of the very system that failed me. Of course they'll protect it. That's how power works. It discredits dissent. Denise didn't blink. Or maybe, just maybe, some of them were telling the truth. Maybe the staff who said they felt bullied weren't lying. Maybe family members who felt blindsided had valid feelings. Maybe your story isn't the only one. The word bullying landed like a hammer. Meghan's expression darkened. How dare you bring up those discredited claims? They were investigated and found baseless. You're parroting tabloid lies. Denise leaned back, calm and composed. Were they found to be baseless? Or were the results of that investigation just never made public? That's not the same thing, is it? The air hung thick with silence. Meghan's eyes flashed, anger and disbelief colliding in real time. Ruth made one more desperate attempt to pull the segment back. Ladies, maybe we could shift the focus to the important work Meghan is doing with. But the damage was done. Ruth interjected, her voice edged with desperation. Maybe we should all just... But neither woman was listening. Meghan's voice lowered, deliberate and cold. Denise, I'd be very careful with what you're implying. The investigations were handled appropriately. I will not sit here and let you recycle harmful rumors that have been weaponized against me for years. Denise, unfazed, leaned in slightly, almost invigorated by Meghan's growing discomfort. I'm not implying anything, Meghan. I'm asking straightforward questions. If the investigation cleared you completely, why weren't the findings ever released? Real transparency would have silenced the speculation. Unless, of course, the results weren't quite as favorable as you've claimed. A Meghan's calm facade cracked. Some matters are kept private to protect all parties involved. Your insinuation that I somehow escaped accountability is not only false, it's insulting. Denise's expression shifted subtly. She tilted her head, sensing an opening. Protected all parties, or protected you. Because from what I've heard, the staff who filed complaints didn't feel particularly protected. Several of them left. That doesn't exactly scream resolution. Meghan's hands curled into fists in her lap. Staff turnover happens everywhere. You're drawing conclusions from dots that don't exist. You're pushing a narrative that fits your agenda, not the truth. Denise gave a humorless laugh. My agenda? Meghan, I don't have an agenda. I'm doing what responsible journalists do, asking the questions you're usually shielded from. You've spent years shaping your story through curated interviews and friendly platforms. Someone has to ask the tough questions. The Meghan's voice rose. Tough questions. No, this is character assassination disguised as journalism. You're attacking me with rumors and half-truths, dressed up as accountability. Kay Adams finally stepped in, her tone placating. Let's take a breath here. This is getting intense, and I think we're losing focus on why Meghan joined us today. But Denise wasn't done. Actually, Kay, this is the point. Meghan has built her brand on being wronged by the system. But what if that narrative isn't the whole story? What if there were valid concerns about her behavior that she's now reframing as persecution? Meghan stood abruptly. Her chair scraped harshly against the floor, jolting the studio into silence. I will not sit here and be ambushed. This is exactly the kind of media toxicity I left the UK to escape. You're proving my point. Denise's voice cut through the tension. Sit down, Meghan. Storming out when you're asked difficult questions only proves the pattern I'm talking about. You can't control this like your Netflix specials. Sometimes, you have to face the uncomfortable truth. Meghan remained standing face flushed. The uncomfortable truth is that you're a bitter woman who's made a career tearing down others, especially other women. You represent everything wrong with British media: toxic, cynical, and cruel to those who dare speak out. Denise leaned forward slightly, eyes narrowed. There it is. When challenged, you attack the questioner. That's your pattern, Meghan. Anyone who contradicts your version becomes the villain. Meghan's voice trembled with emotion. My version? My version includes documented racism, suicidal thoughts, and a family that failed to protect me or my child. But sure, let's pretend it's all in my head. Denise stood now, matching Meghan's intensity. No one's denying the racism or your struggles, but you can't use those very real issues as a shield against all criticism. Pain doesn't exempt anyone from accountability. Meghan's voice cracked. How dare you minimize what I went through? You have no idea what it's like to be trapped in a system designed to break you. To have your every move scrutinized by people like you. Off camera, Ruth was frantically signaling to producers. Janet Street, Porter sat frozen, her mouth slightly agape at the escalating exchange. Denise remained maddeningly calm. You're right. I don't know what it's like to be you. But I do know what it means to be held accountable without fleeing or claiming victimhood. That's adulthood in the public eye. Meghan's voice nearly turned into a shout. I didn't run. I made a choice. To leave a toxic environment and protect my family. That's not cowardice. It's called self-preservation. But someone like you would never understand the difference. For the first time, Denise flinched, just slightly. Her jaw tensed. Someone like me. What's that supposed to mean, Meghan? Meghan hesitated, then doubled down. You're the kind of person who thrives on negativity, who builds relevance by tearing others down. A professional cynic who confuses cruelty for truth and bullying for journalism. The audience, silent until now, began murmuring. Some were clearly uncomfortable, others were riveted. Denise's laugh was sharp. Professional cynic? Meghan? I've been doing this longer than you've been famous. I've questioned politicians and celebrities alike, and I've never seen anyone unravel like this under basic scrutiny. Meghan gestured wildly now, all polish gone. This isn't scrutiny, it's a setup. You invited me here under false pretenses, just to attack me with recycled gossip and smear tactics. Ruth, her voice shaky, tried again. Maybe we should go to a break. Let everyone regroup. But Denise shook her head. No, Ruth. If it's all just tabloid lies, then Meghan should have no trouble addressing them. That's what public accountability looks like. Not deflection. Not tantrums. Answers. Meghan's finger shot out, trembling with fury. I don't owe you, or anyone else, an explanation for every disgusting rumor you've decided to believe. I've shared my truth. If you can't accept that, it says more about you than it ever will about me. Denise's eyes lit up like a shark smelling blood. Your truth. Interesting phrase. Not the truth. Your truth. That implies there might be other versions, doesn't it? Perspectives just as valid as yours. The words crackled in the air like a lit fuse. Meghan's expression shifted shock, fury, then something closer to desperation. The poised public figure vanished. What remained was raw. Her voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You want my truth, Denise. It's the truth of a woman who lived through racism, isolation, and institutional gaslighting. And it's exactly that kind of both sides logic that lets those systems keep grinding people down. Denise stepped in. No fear. No retreat. And that's the problem, isn't it? You've decided that your lens is the only one that matters. Anyone who questions it, they're either racist, sexist, or part of some grand conspiracy against you. Meghan let out a bitter, humorless laugh. The reality, Denise, is that I'm being interrogated by someone who made up her mind about me before I even sat down. The reality is I left a palace and walked into another trap. This set, this interview, is just another courtroom. Off camera, Ruth Langsford gestured wildly. Cut to commercial, but no one moved. The producers smelled blood in the water. Denise stayed locked in. If being asked for accountability feels hostile to you, maybe public life isn't for you. Public figures get scrutiny. That's the price of the platform you've chosen. Chosen, Meghan snapped. You think I chose to be dissected, humiliated, called crazy, called fake. I didn't choose any of this. It came the moment I fell in love. Kay Adams tried to cut in, voice shaky. Ladies, please. Maybe we can all just... No. Meghan whirled to face her, eyes blazing. There is no common ground with someone who came here to label me a liar and a manipulator. This ambush is exactly what they did in the palace, what the tabloids did. And now here we are, again. Denise didn't flinch. Her tone stayed maddeningly calm. No one called you a liar, Meghan. But questioning your story isn't the same as attacking you. The fact that you can't see that is telling. Meghan turned back, breath short. You've been attacking me since you opened your mouth. You've implied I deserved what happened to me, that I'm some serial victim who poisons every institution I touch. That's not journalism, Denise. That's character assassination. A long silence. Then a whisper from Janet Street. Porter. Maybe we should all just take a breath. But Meghan was done with breathing. You want to know what's really telling, Denise? It's that you're so threatened by a woman who refused to be broken that your only move is to destroy her on live television. You are everything wrong with how this country treats women who speak up. Denise's smile was tight, controlled, deadly, threatened. Meghan, I've been holding powerful people to account since you were learning how to curtsy. I'm not threatened. I'm disappointed. You had the chance to change the conversation. Instead, you've made victimhood your brand. The words landed like a slap. Meghan froze. Her face turned pale, then crimson. You dare, how dare you, minimize my pain like that? You think you know what I've sacrificed, what I've endured, what I've lost. Denise stepped even closer, closing the last inch of space. What you've lost, a palace, a title, protection from one of the most powerful systems on Earth. What you've gained is total control over your image, and a platform to monetize every grievance. Some would call that a pretty good trade. Meghan's hands were shaking now. Rage, grief, who could tell? Monetize my grievances. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to spend every waking moment defending my sanity, my family, my very existence? She took a breath that nearly broke her. I would give anything to go back, to be unknown again, to not have to fight every damn day just to be heard. Denise's voice was cool. Final? Then stop. No one's stopping you from disappearing. Stop the inventories. The memoirs. Live the quiet life you keep saying you want. Meghan's voice rose, trembling with raw volume. I can't stop, because every time I try to move forward, people like you drag me back. Every time I do something positive, someone twists it into poison. I am trapped in this cycle, by you, by the media, by people who refuse to let me move on. Denise shook her head, one slow beat. Then she delivered the final cut. You're not trapped by us, Meghan. You're trapped by your own choices. Every statement you make, every interview, every documentary. You say you want privacy, Meghan, but you don't walk away, you double down. You keep feeding the narrative because, deep down, you need it. The accusation landed like a slap. Meghan's composure faltered. Her face tightened, then cracked. I need this. I need to be ripped apart by tabloids. I need to be painted as unstable, manipulative, a threat. I need to have my trauma broadcast and dissected like it's entertainment. Denise's tone was calm, clinical. You need the platform, even if it comes with backlash. Because without the crown, without the controversy, who are you? What do you stand for when you're not standing against the royal family? Meghan's jaw clenched. Ruth Langsford, visibly shaken, cut in. Okay, that's enough. This conversation has crossed a line. We're going to a break. No, Meghan snapped, eyes blazing. Let her finish. Let her show everyone exactly who she is, exactly how women tear each other down on national TV. This is the bullying that breaks people. Denise didn't flinch. Bullying. I've asked questions. You're the one shouting, deflecting, refusing to engage. If anyone here is showing signs of emotional aggression. Meghan, it's you. Meghan's voice exploded into a scream. I will not be gaslit on live television. Not by you. Not by anyone. This is exactly how they tried to silence me before. Make me doubt myself, doubt my truth. She yanked at her mic, fingers trembling. I'm done with this interview. I'm done pretending this country hasn't turned on me for speaking out. Harry was right. We never should have come back. Meghan, please. Ruth pleaded, standing now. Let's just pause. Take a breath. But Meghan was already storming toward the edge of the set. No, Ruth. I'm leaving, and not quietly. This isn't an interview. It's an ambush. It's character assassination wrapped in polite daytime smiles. Security stepped forward cautiously. Don't touch me, Meghan warned. I'm leaving voluntarily, but let the cameras roll. Let the world see what happens when a woman dares to speak her truth in this country. She turned back at the exit, voice trembling with rage and grief. Denise, I hope this was worth it. I hope dragging someone to the edge of a breakdown earns you the applause you're so desperate for. You've just proven everything I've said about this toxic media culture. Denise, still seated, looked straight ahead. I didn't destroy anything, Meghan. I asked questions. And if those questions broke something, maybe it wasn't built on truth in the first place. Ian, just like that. Meghan Markle vanished off the Loose Women set. The studio fell into stunned silence. Ruth stood frozen. The other panelists sat in awkward shock. And Denise Welch. She remained calmly in her chair, collected, composed, and clearly aware she'd just ignited a media firestorm. Within hours, the clip was everywhere. Social media, tabloids, morning radio. Debates erupted over who was to blame. Was Denise too harsh? Or was Meghan too defensive? But one thing was clear. This wasn't just an interview gone wrong. It was a televised rupture in real time. Raw, unfiltered, unforgettable. What do you think? Was Denise Welch right to hold Meghan accountable? Or did this cross a line from journalism into cruelty? Drop your thoughts below, because this moment won't be forgotten anytime soon.